Hello, my name's Annabel Fisher and I'm from the EFT Healing Centre. For as long as I can remember, I've been told you're too emotional and you're too sensitive. Don't let it bother you so much. And for most of my life, I felt like there was something wrong with me. That was until I began exploring the concept of why I felt the way I did and having an awareness of who I was. Of course, it didn't take long for me to understand that I have a very highly sensitive temperament. And although at times that felt like a curse, thanks to EFT and my work on who I am and the way that I observe the world and my perspective on the world, I've been able to turn that around to become a real blessing. So if you've ever been told you're too emotional or too sensitive, or you take things too seriously or too literally, or too many twos, if any of that sounds familiar to you, I very much hope that you'll find this tapping we're going to do helpful. And it's interesting for me that the more clients I work with, the more I seem to attract clients with highly sensitive personalities. And there's something very refreshing for them in knowing they're not the only ones. What I do with the work I use with them with EFT is to convert the way they feel, which is as though they're carrying a very heavy burden, to feeling very blessed about who they are and the way that they see the world and how in tune they are with others and their environment. If that sounds like you, I hope this tapping will be very beneficial. So just get a sense in a moment of how you feel about being very emotional, about being very sensitive, about being very aware of what's going on around you and how others must be feeling. Get a sense of what it's like when somebody gives you a look or expresses themselves in a certain way. How do you respond to that? Do you take that on as being something that you've done or instigated? Does it make you feel uncomfortable? Do you feel responsible? How's your body responding as you hear this? Make a note of that. And just before we start tapping, I ask you to take full responsibility of your mental, emotional, spiritual and physical well-being as we tap and after tapping. So let's tap the karate chop point and say this. Even though I'm too sensitive, or so they tell me, I have decided to accept myself anyway. Even though I feel things very deeply, I seem to know what they're thinking and feeling. I want to accept myself for that. Even though feeling things this deeply is very painful for me, I'm so aware of everything around me. And that feels like a burden sometimes. I want to accept myself for being this way. And we'll tap the top of the head. I'm so sensitive. I'm too sensitive. No, I'm not. I'm very aware. I feel very connected to what's going on around me. I feel what they're feeling. Sometimes that seems to be a burden. I'm feeling their pain. And that's too much. I don't want to be so in tune with everyone else. I don't want to be so empathic. This is a heavy burden for me. It pains me to see the world the way it is. I'm so aware of their responses. I can't stop thinking about the way they look or their facial expression. Their tone of voice must mean something. It must mean I've done something wrong. No, it mustn't. Maybe it means something entirely different. All of this seems like a heavy burden. But I wonder if I could see this from a different perspective. What if there is a blessing here? I feel things so deeply. I'm so in tune with my surroundings. I'm very aware. All of these are gifts. I'm sensitive to their needs. I feel a connection to the earth. I'm mindful of what's going on around me. I am very aware. So I've decided to celebrate these qualities. I'm turning this around. What I once considered a curse, I now view as a blessing. Close your eyes and take a comfortable breath. And start to be really mindful of what it is that you see as you observe the world and the people around you. What qualities do you perceive? How deeply do you feel things? How moved do you become by things? Is that not a suggestion of how deeply connected you are to your environment and what's going on around you? And I encourage you to see that as a blessing.